What's going on, family? You guys are so amazing. I want to say thank you so much for your likes, your shares, and your comments. Thank you so much for your connections. It's because of you that we're able to reach the masses. This is the 4th series of the Preachers of the 757. I have such an amazing guest, Pastor Micheal Etheridge, that's going to bless your life. The startup church. It's called The Place. Tune in. Thank you so much for being a special guest on the Preachers of the 757.
Thank you for having me, man.
I know you're busy, man.
You already know.
I really appreciate it. So tell us something about yourself that we don't know.
Oh, that you don't know?
Yes.
I don't even know, to be honest.
Okay.
Probably know pretty much a lot about me. Musician, pastor.
Yeah.
Just a lover of God, man.
Gotcha. So what made you answer the call? I know we had talked off camera for a little while. What made you say, listen, I'm going to accept my call to preach the gospel, even though I've experienced church hurt?
I think for me it was the fact that when I was pastoring initially, when I went through a divorce and the circumstances surrounding that, it was like I fell back from ministry because at the time I was like, man, I just want to get myself together. It was so traumatic. And I felt like I had let God down. A Peter experience.
Wow.
When he denied Jesus 3 times.
Absolutely.
But then he came, Jesus said, go tell my disciples, and Peter.
Yes.
And he was the one that preached the message that, 3,000 souls got saved. So it was like, for me, it was like God said, I'm still calling your name.
Yeah.
Even though something happened that caused you to, have a moment.
Right.
The calling still was sure. So for me, it wasn't, for a long time, I didn't want to come back to ministry as in preaching.
Wow.
But
now I saw one of your videos, and I knew you were into music, real heavy.
Yeah.
And I saw one of your videos. I did know, but you had a show of fire clothes. I think you posted like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what made you keep that under wraps? Like, I don't want nobody to know. I just want to go and heal. I just want to go and be restored. I want to go and be poured into. I'm not gonna let you know about my gifts. Why was that?
Because my mission was not to try to be at a church to preach. So, and at the time, after my divorce, and my healing process, shout out to Bishop Brown, I was at the Mount.
Absolutely.
So I just sat in the pew, man, and got healed and got fed, and it was a good experience, man. And I also got to experience church culture that was bigger and different than what I had been exposed to as far as being a member.
Absolutely.
So I think that was important in my progression back into ministry.
Absolutely.
But for me, man, listen, preaching is probably on the last thing on my list of stuff that I don't want to do or want to do.
Wow.
But God says you're gonna do it because I called you to do it before you was born. So that it was never like, let me go here and try to get on the preaching board.
Right,
what I'm saying? I already knew what God had in me. Because before it had already been proven. But it was like I needed to heal on the inside so that what God had placed in my spirit and anointed me to do, I could do effectively.
Absolutely.
With character and with integrity.
I love it. So there's gonna be some preachers that watch this, some pastors that say, I was at that place, I was broken, I just had to step away. What was the undefining moment for you to know I'm healed now, now I'm ready to do ministry?
It's good you asked. I was in my house and I started doing some fasting and stuff, and God was showing me a door opening for ministry again. Okay. I'm remarried, been married. This would have been, it was 5-year marriage point at this point. So so new daughter.
Celebrate marriage.
It was a restorative process. But I remember one day I was in my living room and I just felt the presence of God in a way that I never had felt in a long time. Right. So where he just came in the room, started weeping, you know what I mean? And God spoke to me then and said, I called you to do something. I don't care what you did in your past. I don't care what happened. I don't care, about your mistakes. Because what I placed in you, the world needs. Yes. And at that moment I said, and he also told me, the more you struggle against this, the harder life will be for you. Wow. So for me, it was a no-brainer because I know how God get down.
I love it. So I understand the ministry of Jesus. The Bible declares us, I did not come to condemn the world, but that through me, the world might be saved. Why is it that, you can see it, and a lot of other people can see it, but as a whole, the world looking outside, from the outside looking in, they view Christians as being so judgmental? I don't mind you talking about your mess up as long as it's 15 years ago. 10 years ago. I don't mind telling my testimony.
Right.
As long as it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But we don't want to talk about a testimony that's 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago.
Right, right.
Why is that?
I think it's because the enemy wants to cover up that the blood can cover your present sin as well.
Yes.
You know, not that we may continue in sin, as the Bible says, but I think in church culture as a whole, we have, and nothing against denominations, but when you build something around a look or a feel or just one way of doing things, you stifle the multiplicity of God. And now it's like, if I don't look like that, does he love me?
Wow.
If I'm not in that clique, does he love me? If I don't talk like that, if I don't worship like that, the way that you do, am I not loved by God? So I think what we have to do is also, when Jesus came back after being crucified and appeared to the disciples, he said, you know, put your hand in my wounds.
Right.
Put your hands in the nail prints in my hands so that you might believe.
Right.
A lot of times people won't believe unless they can touch the wounds that you have, the places you've been broken, the places that God has allowed you to be nailed down, but now you're resurrected. So I think that pure ministry comes from a place of being real. But I think another problem is we want to present a picture of perfection to people, especially ministers. We do, pastors. You know, I'm living so holy, I'm living so right. I don't care who you are, you're having bad thoughts. The Bible said bringing every thought into the obedience of Christ. That's why we're like, when a person falls, instead of realizing that it could be any of us, but it's through the word of God.
And for the grace of God, there go out.
Yes, it's through his word that our mind is being transformed, and it's a process.
Absolutely.
So I think when we're honest and say, you know, you might fall out and be filled with the Holy Ghost today, but you may get up and go out and do something that is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Because he has to sanctify you, he has to renew your mind, you have to grow. And I think if we tell people that and be honest with them about that, and then it can, you know, bring this love back in the relationship, because now I want to please him because he loves me, not scare me into being holy.
Churches that start up. They start in a traditional setting. They rent out a church building. They rent out a school building. The place started off in the club, Broadway, Norfolk, Virginia. I didn't have the opportunity to interview Dr. Jamal Bryan because he started in a club.
Wow.
Let me ask you the question. Why did you choose a club versus a church building or school?
Honestly, I didn't. God did.
Wow.
God supernaturally gave me favor, opened the door, and it was like he spoke. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna give you a story. My first church building, when I started preaching, for the first church I had was called Ground Zero. I want to say, I don't even remember 10. No, it had to be 9 or 8. 08. And I was preaching in my apartment. I had started in my apartment. I had one person come into my apartment. And my kids. And I would put stuffed animals in there. As, like I'm preaching to them too. I was like, God is doing something. So from there, one day I went to wash clothes at a local laundromat. And when I went into the laundromat, there was a building next to the laundromat. And the guy looked in, and there's like a stage, church chairs, a very small building, very much nothing like the club or anything. It's real small. Maybe you could fit 50 people in there. And that'd be hard. But he was like, I'm moving out of this church. I said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm moving out of this church. And I said, wow, I just started pastoring, blah, blah, blah. He said, come on in. I went in the building. He gave me the keys that day and made me preach the next Sunday. No lease, no nothing. And I stayed in there for a couple of years. So that is how God deals with me. When it comes to how he moves me. And that was like a breeding, a training ground. So this opportunity came the same way. I didn't seek it out. The Lord brought it to me. And he said, this is the place. That's how the name is. And he said, because your ministry, that was, I had to deprogram your tradition. I had to heal you. I had to show you who you were. You didn't have to lose yourself. You know, because at that time in my life, I had only been exposed to ministry through two areas, which was the Baptist and Pentecostal.
Yes.
My spiritual father's church, which was like a really small church, and I was with him for years, taught me a lot, but it was straight Pentecostal driven.
Wow.
So I had those two worlds to base everything I did on.
Right.
When I'm from a whole nother world.
Yes.
When you talk about music,
Yes.
Just being in the streets, people that my experiences shaped where I am now in ministry.
Wow.
The ministry before was not reflective of who I am.
Yeah.
It was reflective of what I saw other people do.
Right.
But God says, now I'm gonna free you to be who I called you to be.
Who I called you to be. I love
Yeah,
it.
and so that's why when he told Joshua, remember, he said,
yes.
are you for us or against us?
Yes.
And he told him, he said, the place where thou standest is holy ground. God spoke that to me.
Yes.
He said, the place where you stand.
Right.
Joshua wasn't standing in the church.
Right.
He wasn't standing in a building that, just had a cross on the front, not saying anything's wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that does not
Your assignment.
That doesn't define the place for you.
Yeah, right.
So he said the place where you stand is holy ground, the place. And it'll start here.
Yes.
But obviously it's gonna be way bigger than that. It's gonna be places everywhere. Because I wanna make the place into almost, I wanna start, well, I'm not gonna tell up all my ideas.
Absolutely.
But what I see is even to the point where they're in malls.
Yes.
Where people can go to the place and get fed the word of God, interactive technology and things of that nature, but based in our faith. So it's just man, God's really been pouring into me about the multifaceted moves of God that are coming in this hour.
I love it. So let's talk about this. You're talking about denomination. I know it's a far stretch when you've been raised a certain way. Now God is taking me out of that realm of which I'm used to, of which I've been seeing.
Yes.
Now God is somewhat reconstructing something totally different. Let's talk about spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
I think spiritual gifts, I grew up in a Baptist church.
Absolutely.
And in the Baptist church that I grew up in, and most Baptist churches is that I've experienced, spiritual gifts aren't flowing in the service.
Yes.
It's not that they, and some churches don't believe that they exist. They stopped after, in Bible days.
Absolutely.
So with the apostles.
Yes.
So I think for me, what God, healing, prophecy, all of these things are definitely, we see it, Dr. Matthew Stevenson, Tiffany Moore, you see it coming in this generation more so.
Right.
Where they're preaching and they're teaching, but you're also seeing the manifestations of things that are being proven.
Yes.
That God is speaking through them.
Absolutely.
That signs and wonders shall follow them that believe. And I think it's only because, man, I don't think it's like, oh, this generation just didn't get it. The one before us. I think it's because this generation that we live in, they need to see something.
Right.
So coming to church and just,
that's not good enough for me.
Yeah, I got Instagram.
I need to see something tangible.
I need to see God do something that I gotta call my girl, like, girl, how did he know that?
Absolutely.
And now, and then on top of it, you have them seeking mediums and all of this stuff. Even you see the saints playing these games on Facebook.
Yes.
Who am I?
Yes.
And then you post what they tell you are.
Absolutely.
It's because you're looking for something.
Looking for it. But plus the older generation, my father generation, my mom generation, that generation was brought up under, you listen to what I say and I believe what you say. Because you're the pastor. I believe in what you're saying. This generation that we're living in now, our generation, the millennials, we're in generation prove it. You're saying this. Let me Google it and see if you're telling the truth. I'm not gonna let you bamboozle it. So that's the generation. They're in. So now the generation that our forefathers was in, the spiritual gifts wasn't relevant to them.
Yeah, and I think also too, it's a warring time. Okay. Whereas it's time to really take territory.
Yes.
And in order to do that, I think it's going to take the power of God, the tangible manifestation of the Spirit of God.
Yes.
Just like with Moses and Joshua. Moses taught the law, but Joshua brought them into what Moses taught them about. So it's just, I think, different seasons, different times.
Absolutely.
And I think that now we should be open to differences.
Yes.
We should allow creative expression to be what it is in ministry.
Versus being so cookie cutter.
Yeah, ministry should include that. I don't understand, you know.
So why do you think people are scared to step outside of the boundaries or out of the normal? Why is that?
Cultural, well, I won't say cultural relevance, but I think church acceptance. You know, I think
Even though we've seen it before, Steve Furtick,
Yeah.
step outside the box, explosive growth.
you talking about Stephen Furtick?
Yes.
I will say this. I think it's, and I ain't trying to be funny, but
Yes.
it's us too. Our culture, our
Yeah.
race of people
Yes.
have a different experience with God than most ethnicities. We were introduced to God through slavery, through you know, being taught for this to be a bondage,
Yes.
to be used against you. So when we got free,
Absolutely.
you know, now it's like we've developed that as a system, and it's almost like there's a value of importance placed on who I am in the church organization
Yes.
versus
Yes.
who I am in the kingdom of God.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
now it's about, you know, it's a cultural thing that's
Yes.
passed down. I'm the
Yes.
bishop, I'm this, I'm
Yes.
that, I'm that.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's really about what is your assignment to the kingdom on a broader scale.
right,
Why can't
right.
you worship with that church down the street?
Right.
Why do you have to worship just within your circle?
Love it.
So I think that this generation doesn't feel that way. We're
Yeah.
like, look, let's get together. I don't
Right.
care if you're black, white,
Right.
rock, Christian. What's good?
Right,
We
right.
love the same God.
Right, absolutely. So let me ask you, Chris, let's do a little transition. I know that your background is music.
Yeah.
You've worked with some A-list celebrities and produced great music, great
Yeah.
content. Every pastor has their own gift. You know, your gift,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna opinionate it, your gift is in the music ministry
Yeah.
or the music area. How does that ability or that gift that you're bringing to your church called The Place is effective at your church, The Place?
I think too, music ties into gifts as well. Because
Yes.
if you look at music in the Bible, it was very prophetic.
Absolutely.
Prophets had minstrels, you know,
Yes.
those kinds of things. David,
Yes.
you know, who was a warrior, but
Right.
the music, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like, and he sang to God.
Absolutely.
So a lot, you know, with the songwriting ability,
Yes.
it's really a form of songs.
Yes.
And I started realizing the song is no different than a sermon, really.
Love it.
So the music, I'm bringing a Occupy series of concerts to my church, The
Okay.
Place,
Okay.
which will be like once a month, but it'll
Yes.
be national acts from gospel to hip hop, Christian.
Love it.
And then I'm gonna bring in local artists to perform
Yes.
alongside of them. So that's gonna be that's
Something
music.
different.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Music is a big part of what I do. Of course, G Next Life with Slater, his album coming, but again,
Had to put that plug in.
yeah,
Sorry.
all of that is
I saw
just
that.
all of that is just who I am.
Yes.
You know, when I got in the music industry at 15, I'm 43.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I've been doing music since then.
Wow.
Like, you know, I've been blessed.
Yes.
To have a lot of great experiences and a lot of knowledge and a lot of things poured into me.
Absolutely.
So that the music is it's grown over the years. I've just gotten better and better and better. So now I use everything I have for
Yes,
the Lord.
yes,
So now I don't get out there with jagged edge.
Absolutely.
Even though I opened up for them, you
Yes.
know, back in the day, or
Absolutely.
whoever I was with
Yes.
at the time, Montel Jordan, and just all these people all over the country.
Right.
God said I'm gonna use that for my kingdom.
I love it.
Because he broke me down in a limousine one time. I was in I want to say Shreveport, Louisiana. Just came from the show.
Yes.
And he broke me down in the car. There was some gospel music playing. Now I'm out there in the world, dog.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm living. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
My dream has come true. Mike E.
Yes.
Teddy Riley. I got my own album. I got my Capitol Records. I'm good.
Right.
And God broke me down in that car and said, "You were not created for this."
Wow.
Now I didn't know how life would just unravel into all of the things that it did, but that's what happened. So, you know, music. I think every gift you have
Yes.
should be used for the kingdom of
Absolutely.
God. I don't. It's nothing.
And that really displays God's free will for us that He has given us. Free will. I've given you ability.
Yeah.
Then you can use it for good, or you can use it
on,
for
Doc.
whatever it is.
Yes.
Your free will. And somebody asked me the critical question. They asked me, "What does the Bible mean to me?" And I specifically, I believe, by my credo belief, is that it's a relational book. It's to bring us in right relation with God.
Yes.
God has given us free will to choose. He wants a relation with us.
He wants
and He doesn't force the relationship.
Nope.
Either you will choose or you won't choose. But God will give you a
Seek ye first the kingdom of
and all of His righteousness.
and all
shall
things will be added unto you. So
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, seeking Him through
Yes.
His Word.
Yes.
There's a lot to be said with that. It's a reason why He told Joshua meditate on the
Day and
Word
night.
day and night.
Yes.
You know, it's more than just something he says.
Absolutely.
He said, and then
Yes.
thou shalt have good success. So at the end of the day, your success is definitely going to be I'm seeing God do so much in my life in the last couple of months.
Wow.
Since I started fasting and praying
Yes.
and seeking him and saying, Lord, not my will but yours.
Right.
And getting in my word, because obviously I have to more
Yes,
now,
yes, yes,
you know,
yes.
to bring word to the people. But
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been doing that anyway, but
Right.
I think even to take it a step further for what you're saying is,
Yeah.
he says, give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Right, and that bread is revelation.
Yes.
It's what God's words offer you.
Yes.
For the day.
Yes.
For the
Yes.
week. For the
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
Where am I?
Yes.
And listen,
Yes.
you're not going to get that from just going to church every week. You're going to have to get in
I
the
need
presence.
daily bread.
You're going to have to get in the presence of God
Absolutely.
and get to a place where he says, do this.
Yes.
Don't answer that call.
Yes.
Go here.
Yes.
Talk to this person.
Yes.
I'm opening this door. These are things that the Spirit does. That's why now, man, listen, I'm sold out. I don't got no choice to be.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And listen, I want to say thank you so
Bro,
very much.
this was
for being a
love,
special
man.
guest, and it was great. But this is what I want to share with you.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
ask you the critical question. There's some pastor out there, there's some preacher
Yeah.
that has this pressing on them and saying, God is telling me to start a church, but I'm scared.
Oh.
Financially, I can't afford it.
Oh.
I don't know if people are going to come. And I know you said before that you had stuffed animals in place. Like, I'm going to preach to them too.
Man, listen.
What would you share with them to say, listen to the voice of God? You know, seek counsel, but if God is telling you to move in a certain direction, do it.
If there's some young pastor, if there's a business owner, anyone who God is speaking to right now in your life, he's saying, look, you get ready to make a shift. I want to do some great things for you. I want to use you for my kingdom. I want to bless others' lives through you. Listen, don't be afraid to step out on what God is telling you to do. I don't care if it's a business, whatever it is, if it's a ministry, if God called you to it, run with it, because I'm gonna tell you, you might not have the money, you might not know the right people, but the doors are already open for you to be able to do what he said. If he called you to it, it's already there. You just have to keep going. As you go, you'll see more doors open, you'll see more opportunities come, and you'll actually see why he told you to do it. So be encouraged. I don't know who it is, but I feel like somebody's saying, man, he can't use me. Yes, he can. You're looking at a person that has done it all, from drugs to everything, you name it. But God brought me out of all of that, and it was for a purpose. So I could be right here at the place where I have service every week, the Norfolk Broadway. So do what God told you to do. If you don't have a church and you're somebody who just feels like God is trying to do something different in your life, he wants to speak to you, he's been telling you, hey, it's time. Listen, you might not feel comfortable in the conventional church. You may have heard something in this interview that made you say, you know what, I want to check that dude out in his church. Meet me at the Broadway Restaurant and Lounge, Norfolk, Virginia. Come through. I'm telling you, God is moving in this place. I really appreciate this time and moment my brother Antonio has given me. God bless you. The place, Norfolk. We'll see you soon.
This is the bonus footage.
Yeah, we got
entrepreneurship in the church.
Right.
What's your take on that?
Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah.
If you don't like, you know how Jay-Z is the blueprint?
Yes.
They say?
Yes.
You know what I mean? As far as the music game.
Right.
Bishop T.D. Jakes is the blueprint for Christians, pastors, businessmen. Listen, you can still be who God called you to be and
Absolutely.
diversify.
Yeah.
So I think it's important, if you have a gift of music, open a music business and still preach.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you have
So why do you think more pastors, I know from the older generation, God has called me to preach, and that's all I'm going to do?
again, it goes back to what we said earlier, tradition,
Yeah.
how we were exposed to the gospel.
Yeah.
It was one track minded.
Yes.
You know, I'm the pastor,
Yes.
and that's it. But I mean, honestly, as the world evolves,
Absolutely.
you know, there weren't a lot of entrepreneurs during that season. Period.
Yes.
It's I'm gonna get me a good city worker,
Right,
government job,
right.
and that's your
40
life.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God spoke to me a long time ago in
Yes.
a dream. That's not your path. I don't
Absolutely.
care what you got to go through, how hard it gets for
Yes,
you.
yes.
You ain't going that way.
Love it.
So I think we have to embrace
Yes.
entrepreneurialism
Absolutely.
on a whole, not
Yes.
just in the church,
Yes.
in our communities,
Yes.
and teach people that, hey, there's something in you
Yes.
God wants to use to feed you.
I love it. Man, thank you so much, man.
Love you, bro.
Preachers of 756.
Yes, sir.
So long,